And it's not easy to represent when fear enters the heart and your principle is called out. So I'll give you a quick example. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I was driving. I'm going to a job interview. I left a half hour early because I wanted to get there early. What do I want to do? Why am I getting there early? What is it? Good impression. My reputation is at stake. I have to time manage, correct? So now what happens? I'm driving. I pull up to this light and it starts to rain really heavy. And all of a sudden, the cars are not moving anymore. I look up, this old lady comes out of the car. She can hardly walk. She comes out of the car. She tries to open the other lady's door. The car that's next to them, she tries to open the door. It wouldn't unlock. The traffic starts to move. She's still in front of me. Now I'm waiting. And I'm looking where? I'm looking at what? What am I looking at? The time. And now, I'm getting a little upset. I'm getting frustrated. What happens when something is blocking what we're trying to get us? Well, I'm trying to get somewhere and we get a block. What happens when we get blocked by something in life? It automatically creates frustration. There's a 1-to-1 ratio actually in psychological studies that's shown that every time there's an obstacle in front of you, there's a certain threshold that you reach of frustration. So now I'm getting frustrated. But I see this woman and she's wearing what? What do you think she's wearing? What do you think she's wearing? She's wearing the hijab. What do you think I got from her? Right away, she's older. She's wearing the hijab. Beautiful. She's already talking to me. By not saying one word, she hasn't said one thing. She's already communicating through her dress language. She's already telling me something. I'm in need. Right away, she's in need. But she's wearing something that's so beautiful that it's just an article of clothing. It's just a sheet, let's say. But it communicates so much. It represents a religion. It's a flag of a religion. So when we understand that just an article of clothing, that the Prophet ﷺ, when he was asked to let go of his message, he said, if they were to put the sun in my right hand and the moon in my left hand, that I will not renounce my message. To that extent, your hijab represents the sun and the moon. Do we understand that kind of weight of representation? Now what happens when representation has conflicting messages through our behavior against our dress language? And I'm not just talking to the sisters. It's very easy to talk because it's there. The hijab is there. You have to wear it. For a guy, he can lighten up his beard. He doesn't have to really, he can mold in, fit in. I'm Italian, you know what I mean? I just look like this. You know, he can play a million different roles. He can mold in. It's much harder for the sisters. But some of us know. We have the beard, it's this out. We don't care. We're representing at the highest level. It doesn't matter. And I'll come up here and I'll say who I am. And I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to speak. And I'm not saying this because I'm up here. I used to be terrified of speaking. I'm telling you, I used to be terrified. I couldn't speak in front of people. But watch me now. Because I love my religion. It's my representation. I'm not representing it. It's representing me. And when you download it into your heart and you connect your emotions to it, watch the dignity that you have. And when you go against your own temptations, what happens to you as a person? What happens to your own heart when it starts to speak in a representation of Islam? That Allah Azza wa Jal, when He says in the Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, أَفَمَنْ شَرَحَ اللَّهَ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. When Allah has expanded His chest to Islam, what do you gain when you represent with the hijab of your beard? And you represent when you lower your gaze when you're looking at another woman? Or when you put on the hijab and you stand and you say, I represent. What does Allah say? What do you gain? Allah says you get enlightenment in your heart. Something in your heart opens. When you download that, what happens there? What happens when your heart opens like that? Now you become a beacon. Your heart is connected to the right things. Your iman is in your heart. Now, we said, what happens when you have conflicting messages? When we are saying one way, when we're, let's say our dress language is saying one thing, but our verbal language is saying something else. But our behavior is saying one thing, then our dress language is saying something. I'll give you an example, really quickly. We're communicating. And now, let's say I get married. Hopefully, if you're not married, hopefully you get married. Let's say you are married. Your wife comes up to you and she says to you, or you come up to your wife and you're like, I'll talk to the guys. You come up to your wife and you tell her, honey, what's wrong? Adam, how are you? Good. She goes like this. Guys, pay attention. Learn, okay? Take these lessons and take some notes, because when you face this, hopefully you'll get something, and then this will help you inshallah in the future. So now, she does this. You tell her, honey, what's wrong? She's like, nothing. Guys, how do you interpret that? Wait a minute. Wait. How many of you think there's something wrong? Raise your hand. I just told you there's nothing wrong.
Well, it depends how she...
Well, okay, so...
Body language, maybe.
Oh, okay, body language. Okay, sisters, what does that mean? So tell the brothers what that means. What does that mean? Listen, he said to you, and now let's say you're mad at him, okay? And you're like, nothing. What does that mean? Does it mean there's something wrong, or there isn't anything wrong? Definitely there's something wrong. Okay, so guys, if they go nothing, there's something definitely wrong. Okay, so now, why is it so difficult to believe that there's nothing wrong? Why? The person is telling you there is nothing wrong. They're verbally telling you there is nothing wrong with me. Why is it that you don't believe it? Why? What else are you picking up? Brother, go ahead. You're brave. Go ahead. Their tone. Okay, so there's something called paralanguage. The way we say something is actually called paralanguage. Paralanguage is pitch, how loud, how they say it. All these things matter. Okay, great. Now, the inflections of the voice matter. So you're paying attention to that. So what's coming out through that, though? What is it? Emotions. All right, beautiful. So, brother, you said what? Behavior, correct?
You said body language? Or...
Yeah, body language. So behavior. You said emotions, correct? And the person's talking with what? The verbal. And then we said something earlier with dress, correct? Because the lady walked out of the car and her dress language is already communicating with me. And I'm going to finish the story. I just bring you back to it. So now, there's 4 languages of communication. 4 languages. Verbal, behavioral, emotional, and dress. Verbal, behavioral, emotional, and dress. Can these things contradict at the same time? Can I send mixed messages on different channels that contradict each other in the same statement? Can I do that? Can I do that? Yes, you can. Now watch this. Let's take the expression again. When she says nothing, the behavior, what's the behavior telling you? Nothing. When it's connected to the voice and the way the voice is coming out, what are you picking up on the emotion? Is this person upset or not? Are they upset? They're definitely upset. So now you're picking up on the emotional language. And brother, what's your name? Muhammad Ali. So my brother here, Muhammad Ali, has picked up on the emotion that she's definitely feeling something wrong. Muhammad Ali, what did you do? What did you do? You did something wrong. She's telling you you did something wrong, right? So now he knows he's in trouble. He's in trouble. So he's gonna, honey, I got you flowers, I did this, I did that. He's gonna try to communicate in a different matter. So now, the verbal language is saying there's nothing wrong, correct? Contradictory to that is the emotional and what? The behavior. Two languages are saying there's something wrong, and the other language is saying what? There's nothing wrong. You're getting mixed messages. You're actually getting mixed messages within one statement. So your verbal, behavioral, emotional, and dress can contradict. Now what happens if a brother, let's talk about the brothers. What's the hijab of the brothers? Can anybody tell me? What is your hijab, brothers? What is one thing you need to do that constitutes the hijab? Attitude. What else? What, sisters? Anybody? Somebody said something. Anybody? What is it? Lowering gaze. Big one. Beautiful. That's the one I was looking for. Okay. Now, let's say the brother is trying to get married and he gets one little extra look that he shouldn't do. And now he doesn't lower his hijab. Is his behavior contradicting his belief structure? Is he contradicting Islam? Is he going against the rules? Okay, his hijab. Now, let me take it a little further. Let's say we're not going to talk about wearing something. Okay, here, I'll give you a beautiful example. There was a video that came out a while back, and there was a person who was praying in indecent clothes. And I mean very indecent. Now, was her dress language okay during prayer? No. Now, the act she's actually performing, which is prayer, is contradicting her dress language, correct? See how we can send mixed messages consistently. Now, if you send mixed messages consistently, do people have a problem with that? Do people have a problem with that? Do they know what you really represent? They don't. So what happens if you're posting on social media contradictory information of what you represent? When you come up here and you say, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Shia, and I stand and I represent, but then I'm on the phone and there's this girl I like. And I had one of the brothers, he's very young, and he's talking to this girl. And he comes up, and we're sitting on a plane. And we're sitting right there, and he's sitting between me and this other person. And he's talking to this girl, and he's texting away. I said, brother, why don't you, not me, I said the other brother talked to him, and he said, why don't you talk to her dad? He's young. He's a teenager. The brother's like, what? Her dad? What are you talking about? Islam says, you need to talk to who? What does Islam say? You want to talk to a girl? Guys, pay attention. You want to talk to a girl. Whose permission do you have to get? The father. He's her wali al-amr. He's her guardian. Now, let's say, can I come, let's say somebody's 15, 16, 17 years of age. Can I come out and I don't know you. And I come and I ask for Adam. I say, Adam, listen, I like this guy. He's really cool. We're friends. I'm not his guardian, but I want to sign him out. Will they let me sign him out? So, if they won't do that in school, why do I have enough courage to talk to a girl or a girl to talk to a guy without letting someone of supervision know, who's raised you in his house, by his money, in everything he's done for you, and now you go around and you think you're more responsible than the person who's raised you. You know what kind of audacity you have to actually do that? Do you think that's easy for a father to accept? Do you think it's easy? It's not. It's very difficult. But you know what I really respect about that brother? You know what he did? He told her, he's like, I want to talk to your dad. He told her, I want to talk to your dad. And now the hesitation from the other side. What, my dad? What do you mean? We have a long time, we can talk. What are you talking about? See the representation? Am I representing the rules? Do I follow the rules? That's representation. That's reputation. When the Prophet stood on the mountain and he called out and he said, if there was a caravan behind this mountain, would you believe me? Why? Why would the Prophet say this? He's holding everyone in account and he's telling them, would you believe me? Would you believe that I am a Prophet? Sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Would you believe that? That kind of representation is not easy. To say I'm a prophet of Islam, that the Prophet got so close to Allah that it says قَوْسَيْنِ أَوْ أَدْنَى. He was so close to Allah. He got so close to Allah. He was 2 bows lengths or closer. This is the person who what? Leads us. But we think we're safe because we're in that circle. But do we represent what is truth? That he says, I'm a prophet. And when he announces this, they said, we believe you because what? You are a Sadiq al-Amin. They don't say you are Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What do they say? They say you are what? They call him out by his reputation. They call him out by his names of character. This is what we represent. So when you can come up here and say, you know what? I represent. So right now, raise your hand if you want to represent. Raise your hand. Just raise it up high. Say, you know what? I'm proud. And I'm standing up here and I will represent in any which way. Raise it. Let me see. Raise your hand. I will do this with you tomorrow. If you want to do it, I will do it. Raise your hand. Raise it as high as you can. I want to see you. Raise it. Don't be afraid. Because we will be called out. We will be called out on this. And on the day of judgment, you will be asked about your representation. You will be asked about your reputation. You will be asked about it. Tomorrow, raise your hand. Keep your hand up. I haven't told you put it down. Keep your hand up. Now every person who wants to represent, stand up. Stand up. I don't want you to sit. Stand up. Say, I believe in this religion, and tomorrow I'm going to stand up and I'm going to do this no matter what you say. Are you scared, Adam? Are you scared? Okay, so some of us may be scared. Look how I hype this up, right? Thank you for representing. You can sit. Okay? On the day of judgment, when you are going through this phase, and it says, وَإِذَا بَلَغَتِ التَّرَاقِي, and now your soul is coming out of your body. When the soul reaches the throat, وَقِيلَ مَنْ رَاقٍ, and the angels on the other side start to say, who's coming? Who's this person that's coming? And in this moment he says, وَظَنَّ أَنَّهُ الْفِرَاقِ, and now he knows or she knows it's time. I'm leaving. There's no going back. But in that moment, Allah says in the Quran, He says, وَالنَّازِعَاتِ غَرْقًا وَالنَّاشِطَاتِ نَشْطًا. He says, in that moment, Allah, He swears by the angels that pull out the soul violently. Then he swears by the angels that pull out the soul softly. At this moment, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Guys, Ahmad, I think the mic is going. Okay. All right. So at this, that's much better. Okay. So now, I'm going to give you 3 stages really quickly of faith, and you put your, and you put yourself. Oh, it's not going to be good enough. Okay. And you put yourself on these stages. You talk to your heart right now. If you can represent at this level, you have it. Okay. There's 3 stages I'm going to give you, and you talk to your own heart, because when the day comes and you are challenged, your belief system is going to come out. You know when you believe something? Can anybody tell me when you truly believe something? How do you know? How do you test yourself right now? I tested you, and some of you stood up and you're like, you know what? Yeah, we're going to do it. Whatever the challenge is, Wissam, we're going to do it. I don't care what you ask. I'm here and I'm standing and I'm a soldier. A lot of guys want to be soldiers, right? We want to be that hero. Then we want to lead leaders, right? All that is in your heart. You want to be like, how many of you watched the movie Gladiator? How many? Okay? That's literally a representation. Like if you haven't watched that movie, watch it. It's beautiful. But at the end of the day, that representation is so important. So now, when you are called out, and now your faith is tested, what's the biggest thing you can give? What is the most important thing you have in this world? What's the best thing that you own? What is it?
Your soul.
Your life, your soul, your life. Did Imam Hussein alayhi salam give up his life for the religion? So your cause has greater value than your own self. When you have that connected to your heart, is it easy to sacrifice? If you truly have faith in your heart, and you see your whole family get slaughtered, and Imam Hussein stands on the land of Karbala and he says, رِضَاءً بِقَضَائِكَ وَتَسْلِيمًا لِأَمْرِكَ. He says, whatever has become of me, I'm okay with it. My heart is content. And whatever your will is, I submit to. After the exam. Not before the exam, after the exam. When you get tested like that, it's incredible what happens. When you get called out, and now your principle is called out, the challenge will meet your principle. And your reputation is at stake. And watch, there's a lot of people. Let's say you get caught cheating on an exam. And then the teacher calls you out in front of everyone. Is that easy? Why does it feel shameful? Why? Why should you care? Or you hear someone talking about you. One of my mentors was sitting in a restaurant. And in the next table, he overheard people talking about him and putting him down. The person that was sitting with him wanted to get up and talk to the people. He's like, no, let them go. It's okay. It doesn't bother me. It's okay. It's not easy to hear bad things about you. It's not. And it can really mess with you. But at the end of the day, when you have that kind of strength to say, it's okay. Ya Allah, help these people. Help this person. I don't know what's in their heart. You do. I don't know. So now, our faith will be tested. The challenge will come and you will be tested. And on the day of judgment, you have to hold up your side of the story. So now, take these 3 grades. For me, I was tested here. And I failed many situations, many exams. But this one, I can carry you with me. Say, Ya Allah, look, I have something. It's a small little piece, but I have something. Okay? I don't have much more than this, but I have this. Okay? So now, I failed in many situations. Trust me. I've made many mistakes. But this thing, I don't know why I did it, but I did it. So I stopped for a second, and the lady, she comes, I literally decide, I put the car in park, and I get out of the car. It's raining, and my hair is done, I'm wearing my suit, I don't want to be wet, you know what I mean? What am I starting to do? Right here. What's happening here? I'm beginning to sacrifice. It's the beginning of sacrifice. I'm going to help. I'm trying to see the situation. I'm putting now my time in jeopardy. I'm putting hopefully my future job in jeopardy. I'm putting things in jeopardy. So now I walk up, and she literally lowers the window on the passenger side. And she was terrified. She was crying hysterically. And I looked in her eyes, and I can picture her face. Like right now, as I'm telling you this, I can picture her face as she's talking. Thank you for the reminder. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So, Basil, you don't get the ajr because you gave me this. Sayyid, you get the ajr because you remind me. Thank you. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So now I walk up to the car, and she lowers her finger, and it was so foggy, she didn't know how to turn on the defrost. So now what do? First thing I do is I turn on the defrost, and she can at least see to move the car out of the main road. So now what happens here? I get her out of the road, and I pull the car out, and now I pull into the side street. And I'm happy. Khalas, I did my good deed for the day. Alhamdulillah, thank you God. I feel good, this is maybe meant to be. I'm going to get this job. Khalas, Allah is opening up things for me. Then she says to me, she goes, Ya ibni sa'idni. Please help me. I'm like, get Hajj, I love you. It's like, see, my heart it's talking to me. I'm afraid. There's loss. I may lose something. But where's the sacrifice? Where's the sacrifice? And I don't know, I swear to you, I don't know why this happened. I don't know why I did what I did. I don't know. I can't tell you I'm somebody special. I don't know. I don't know why I made these decisions. But something in my heart told me, okay, just help. Just help. I said, what do you need? And she goes to me, she goes, I'm lost. I don't know where I'm at. I was going to pick up my husband, and I don't know where I'm at. I said, where do you live? She goes, I said, what's the street name? She goes, it starts with the letter P. I don't know. I'm like, it's like, okay, I know, like, this is cool. Like, please, like, you help me now, because I'm lost. I don't know what to do. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay, so now I literally said to myself, I said, Ya Allah, whatever happens, happens. Khalas, I let go. At that moment, I swear to you, I felt relief. And this is when I began to understand that the thought of dropping the outcome. When you drop the outcome, you drop the fear. You put your responsibility in the hands of Allah Azza wa Jal. And you let go of what you're trying, you just let go. So when I did that, I literally told her, I said, you know what? Get behind me, get in your car, and now I'm driving around and looking for streets that start with what? The letter P, okay? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, Subhanallah, okay, look at what I'm doing now. Ya Allah, you see this? You gotta make this one down, because you have to. See my heart? So now, I look behind me, and she's moving, she's a turtle. Like, turtle is like, too fast. Okay, she's moving like it's like, I'm like Hajj, I'm thinking in my head like, okay, you know what? It's fine. But I get so far ahead, and I just stop. And when I stop, what happens? I wait for her to come up. And when I wait for her to come up, She gets out of the car and she goes to me, "That's my house." I literally stopped right in front of her house. Now imagine what I would have missed if I would have just drove off. Imagine that. What would have I missed if I would have just went to my interview? And by the way, I got to my destination. Allah gives you these things and it's incredible. But when your faith is tested, when you're representing and your faith is tested and you begin to talk about other people behind their back and you don't have the courage to stand up and say, you want to talk about someone? Go to their face. If you have the courage to go to them, go to their face and tell them, "Listen, you did this and you did that and you did this other things and you did that." Go to their face and talk to them directly. If you have the guts, if you have the courage, walk up to them. Don't be afraid. Where's your strength? Where is your iman? Don't backbite. Don't do namima. Don't do buhtan. Don't do these things. We represent as a community. As a community, we need to stand. Don't talk about each other. Don't do that. Be kind to each other. If someone says something wrong about the next person, stop them. Don't allow it to happen. Al-buhtan, al-namima, wal-ghiba are kaba'ir. These are the bigger sins. Allah Azza wa Jal talks about these things. So now, test your level of iman. Where are you? I'm going to go through these 3 things and we'll end and we'll open it up to discussion. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. The first level of iman, you have 3 levels. The first level is al-iman al-fitri. In the Quran it says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اجتنبوا كثيرا من الظن إن بعض الظن إثم. It keeps saying, "Oh you who believe." What is belief? What is belief? In the Shia Ashari stance of belief is a person who's a muwali. What is a muwali? As a person who believes in Imam Ali's wilaya. That is the consideration. So if you stand on that, then you shouldn't talk about people. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't bring up people in ill ways. You shouldn't do that. These are some of the things that we shouldn't do. There's many other things that are known as the kaba'ir. So now what happens? The first level of iman is this. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. فَأَقِمْ وَجْهَكَ لِلَّهِ حَنِيفًا فِطْرَةُ اللَّهِ الَّذِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا. Surely Allah is enjoined on you to put your face towards Him. Now on that level He says, then He's created you in a certain way. He's fashioned you. هُوَ الَّذِي يُصَوِّرُكُمْ فِي الْأَرْحَامِ كَيْفَ يَشَاءُ. He's fashioned you in the womb of your mother as He wills. He fashions you. The first level of the iman is called al-iman al-fitri. Al-iman al-fitri is the stage where it's a little spark in your heart. How does that work? It's innate. Every one of us has the stamp of Allah. His logo, Allah's thumbprint is in your heart. You cannot remove it. Hubbul Kamal, Hubbul Jamal, wa Hubbul Khair. The love of beauty. How many of us go to the beach or go to have $1 million home on what? Lakefront. Why? Because we enjoy beauty. We love beauty. This is in your heart. Hubbul Kamal, the love of perfection. If I give you A and I give you B and I tell you A is better than B, any sane human being will pick A. The love of perfection. Hubbul Khair. To do good. Even an atheist will tell you, I'm doing good. I'm representing doing good. So even an atheist is worshipping Allah in an indirect way. So this is the level here. This is how we need to understand that level. He says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in terms of وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. Allah says, when Allah fashions, He's fashioned the soul. Then He's given it inspiration. There's an inspiration factor. When you get inspired right now, let's say we talked a little bit about hijab, brothers here in terms of this, you get inspired. Tomorrow, we're all going to post about hijab, correct? Is that what we're going to do? We're going to, listen, everyone, I'm a Muslim. I represent, this is my reputation. I stand up here and I represent this religion. And I'm telling you, I'm not going to move. And I'm going to tell you, I wear this hijab proudly. Is everybody going to post like that tomorrow? Are you that inspired? You may be, maybe. But how long does it last? This is al-iman al-fitri. Where you just, it may last a couple hours, couple weeks, but slowly you lose it. But let's say something sparks in your heart and you really connect it and you connect to the religion. The religion connects to your heart. And tomorrow you do actually post. And you come up here and you say, you know what? Next year I'm going to go to Hajj. Then you say, I'm going to go do ziyarah. The heart is connected. The thought is connected. Now, is this true? Does the heart connect to the concept? Yes. Because Allah, even in the Quran, He says, "Asa an takrahu shay'un wa huwa khayrun lakum." You may love something, but it's not good for you. Or you may hate something and it's not good for you. So the heart's connected to the wrong concept. I drink, concept, but I enjoy it. I backbite, I talk about another person, and I actually enjoy it. Your dopaminergic system actually enjoys it. You enjoy the ghiba, you enjoy talking bad about someone, or bringing someone up in a conversation and you do namima. I tell this person about this other person in the wrong way. And I do that. I'm not afraid to do that. And I actually enjoy it. And I think I'm warning people. Is that truth? Can you stand? Can you go up to that person and talk to them, tell them in their face? Do you have that kind of courage? That's when your iman is getting tested. Your faith is getting tested. The second stage, if you convert to the second stage and you ascend, you hit the second stage and you get to this level. Your level begins to get a certain understanding. And here's where you get to. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is when you convert al-iman al-fitri ila iman al-fikri. And it says in the Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, الَّذِينَ يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا وَعَلَى جُنُوبِهِمْ وَيَتَفَكَّرُونَ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ رَبَّنَا مَا خَلَقْتَ هَذَا بَاطِلًا. They say, they think of Allah, qiyaman, standing, sitting, and laying down. They're always with Allah. They begin to reflect. Mentally, your iman ascends and it hits another level. When you look at the sun, you say, Subhanallah, Allah created that and it's still, there is a fire that's coming. I begin to reflect and connect. When the tree goes through photosynthesis, and what does it do? It produces oxygen. And now you can breathe. That system is too great. It's impossible for something not to create it. I begin to reflect. So your iman ascends to another level. And now it's coming into you further. And then you're not scared anymore. And you will come up to that brother and you tell him, like, you know what? Brother, I love you. May I tell you something? I think you're making a mistake. Here's something I've heard. You have the courage to do it properly. And now, if you do that, you can hit the third stage of iman. And now your heart is connected, it's beginning to feel something. So the next time you want to post something, check which level you're at. Check it. See. The third level is this. The person ascends and they're no longer thinking. It turns and it converts from iman fikri ila iman hissi. The person now begins to feel. And in the Quran, وَإِذَا سَمِعُوا مَا أُنزِلَ إِلَى الرَّسُولِ تَرَى أَعْيُنَهُمْ تَفِيضُ مِنَ الدَّمْعِ مِنْ مَا عَلِمُوا مِنَ الْحَقِّ. When they hear even the Quran, the smallest thing, their hearts begin to flutter of what they have heard. When they hear anything that's brought down to the Prophet, their heart begins to move, and you see their eyes overflow, because the heart is in submission to Allah. The heart is crying. It's not the eye. The heart is crying, but they follow and they submit of what they know of truth. So can you represent? Can you stand and say, this is my reputation, this is who I am, and you're not afraid? And whoever wants to talk, let them talk. Let them have the courage to come up to you and talk. No problem. So stand. All of you stood, correct, earlier? Stand. Represent. Your reputation is great because what you follow is great. It's incredible who we follow. But when the fear comes, and in the Quran it says, وَإِذَا بَلَغَتِ الْقُلُوبُ الْحَنَاجِرِ وَتَظُنُّونَ بِاللَّهِ الظُّنُونَ. Wow, on that day, when you were challenged, when the Muslims were challenged with battle, they had to go into battle. And now in the Quran it says, what? The heart, you're so scared that the heart feels like it's in your throat. When the fear enters the heart. And now you begin to doubt about Allah. It's easy to say, I represent, when there's no challenge. It's easy to say that. It's very easy. But what happens when you are truly challenged and you're scared? Does your principle overtake the fear? Does it? Can it? Is your heart strong enough? Is your belief in your own principles stronger than the challenge? And will the challenge submit to you? Or will your principle submit to the challenge? Really think about these things. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So we'll open it up now to Q&A, or in terms of having a general discussion. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you so much, Hajj. Phenomenal. Beautiful. Just before we do the Q&A and discussion, we'd like to invite you all to have some pizza and some refreshments.
Okay.
If you could please do that, and then we can continue with the amazing discussion.
Wait a minute. We're being challenged here. Oh, there's a challenge. Okay. Listen, I have a challenge for everyone. Hold on. Okay. Who wants to have spiritual food? Hold on, raise your hand. Who wants to have spiritual food? Forget the food. Your food is calling you right now. That's temptation, alright? I'm calling you to stand in the corner of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Okay? Who's going to represent? Joking, let's have the food. Then we'll go from there. Okay, salam.